Welcome on into the Josh Reese Show. I'm your host, Josh Reese, and today's video will be detailing the Houston Rockets 2017 and 18 schedule. Yep, it came out. It's true. It's damn true. Houston Rockets, at first glance, actually don't seem to have a very bad schedule. So it's good to know because of years past, it always seemed like the schedule makers, for some reason, had it out for the Houston Rockets. But this year, it seems like they treated the Rockets pretty fairly. Although, as I say that, I should mention that in back-to-back years, the Rockets are going to have a very heavy road road test road schedule. Jesus, get those words out of my mouth. Road schedule to start the season, and that is a little bit annoying. You think that would go like off years, like one year you have start out on the road, next year you'd start at home, but it is what it is. So to start the season, the Rockets between the start of the season on October 17th, which is about a week and change earlier than normal, as the NBA continues to try to cut back on back to backs, although it is ironic the Rockets will start the season with a back to back. But that's neither here nor there. So, from the start of the season on October 17th to November 3rd, the Rockets will play 7 road games to match 3 home games. So their first 10 games, 7 of them are going to be on the road. And of those 7 games, 4 will be back-to-backs. So two of those road matchups will be back-to-back matchups, and that is kind of annoying. So to start out the 2 road ones, I'll just go over that little mini schedule there for you. To start off the season, the Rockets will start off on October 17th at Golden State Warriors on TNT, must-watch TV. James Harden and Chris Paul will be watching Kevin Durant and Steph Curry receive their rings. So this should be a pretty good game. Last season, the Golden State Warriors dropped that game to the San Antonio Spurs. So we'll see if the Rockets can continue that tradition of beating the Golden State Warriors on opening night, although it's just a tradition of one game. So then after that, they're going to fly to Sacramento to face the Kings back-to-back. Then they're going to come home and face the Dallas Mavericks, the Memphis Grizzlies. Then they're going to go back out on the road, face the Philadelphia 76ers, and then a back-to-back, the Charlotte Hornets and the Memphis Grizzlies. That might be a little bit tough. And then they're going to come home, face the Philadelphia 76ers again, and then to their finish up this little stand on the road against the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the schedule makers may know something that the rest of the NBA does not know about, because why would a Rockets-Knicks game be national TV unless Carmelo Anthony ended up joining the Houston Rockets, and that November 1st matchup against the New York Knicks on the road will be on ESPN TV. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Maybe the Rockets are like, look, you know what? I think you should put that game on TV because we're really, really sure we're going to be getting Melo. And the NBA schedule makers are like, you know what, bro? We like big ratings, and that should be a big rating game. So we will give you that one, Daryl Morey or well, I guess it's not really Les Alexander. It's not real. I don't know. Who knows? I digress. Tad Brown? I don't think so either. Whatever. So last season, as I mentioned, they also started off on the road, which was kind of frustrating. The Rockets, from October 26th to November 9th, the start of the season to November 9th, the Rockets had 1 home game to 7 road games. And we all know that's kind of when the Rockets started their struggles. Not started their struggles. They started off the season with a little bit of a struggle. And that was mainly because Patrick Beverley was not with the Rockets yet, and the Rockets were still trying to go through a starting lineup as they were trying to figure out life without Patrick Beverley. He ended up coming back sometime soon. Was it the Spurs game, or was it the Spurs game at home the next game. He came back very soon after, either at the end of this 8-game streak or like right afterwards. But anyways, they were starting, Corey Brewer. They were starting. They were also starting Eric Gordon. Tyler Ennis was getting a lot of run. So that was a big reason why the Rockets struggled out of the gate last year. This year, I don't really see them having that much of a struggle unless they're still trying to find chemistry between Chris Paul and James Harden. But I feel like that might be more neutralized this year if they are healthy going into the start of the season, mainly because the Rockets are doing a lot of stuff before the season to kind of get acclimated with each other. James Harden and Chris Paul were doing the Drew League. They also took a trip to, I want to say, Jamaica or something like that, or somewhere in the Caribbeans. Lots of team bonding things that they're doing this year, like they also did last year. But health was a big reason the Rockets kind of got out of the gate stumbling wise last year. If their Rockets are healthy, it shouldn't be a problem this year. So as we continue talking about the schedule, the longest homestand for the Houston Rockets will be a 7-game homestand between December 11th and December 22nd. And it's a decent homestand where the Rockets are going to face some scrubs, and they're also going to face some decent teams. Their biggest problem is going to be the San Antonio Spurs on that during that stretch. They have a back-to-back against the San Antonio Spurs and then the Milwaukee Bucks in that strip. Milwaukee Bucks is on my birthday, so that's kind of nice. But that home stretch is going to be filled with a lot of other kind of scrubs. They're facing the Lakers in that stretch. They're facing the Pelicans. The Clippers might be scrubby. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the Clippers yet, but of course that game is going to be on national TV because that is a Chris Paul game. And I believe that will be the first time Chris Paul meets his former Los Angeles Clippers teammates as they come to Houston. The longest road trips for the Rockets will be no longer than a 4-game road trip, so that's kind of good for the Rockets, but they'll do that twice this season. And to close out the year for the Rockets, it's not the toughest for the Rockets. It's kind of a good thing if the Rockets, are in the mix for a 2 seed. They might be able to pick up some ground during this stretch. Their toughest team, they're going to face the Spurs at the Spurs on April 1st. April 3rd, they're going to face the Washington Wizards. April 5th, they're going to face the Portland Trail Blazers. April 7th, they're going to face the Oklahoma City Thunders. Those 3 games are going to be at home. And then they're going to finish the season on the road. And this is where the Rockets are going to really pick up some games if they need to. They'll probably be resting players at this point, kind of like they did last year. But they'll finish at the Los Angeles Lakers and at the Sacramento Kings on a back-to-back. So it is kind of frustrating that the Rockets are going to start the season and end the season on back-to-backs, but it is what it is. The Rockets can handle it. They're a manly team. I believe I saw the Rockets are going to have 14 back-to-backs this year, which is down from 16 back-to-backs last year, and I believe 22 back-to-backs the year before. So like I mentioned, the season starting sooner this year, so they can kind of start to cut out these back-to-backs. As I looked and scoured over the schedule, I think that this is going to be the toughest test for the Houston Rockets, the toughest stretch. Oddly enough, it doesn't really have the Warriors or the Spurs on this, or even the Clippers, but just the potential playoff teams that the Rockets are going to face during this stretch is going to be really tough, and that is going to be between February 29th and March 9th is going to be a really tough stretch for the Rockets, in my opinion. February 23rd, they're going to be home to face the Timberwolves, which we all know how the Timberwolves are. Jimmy Butler added with Cat, Karl Anthony Towns. It's going to be a really, really dynamic duo. And then you got in the trio with Jeff Teague as well. Then you're going to go on the road to face the Denver Nuggets and then the Utah Jazz February 25th and 26th back-to-back. That's going to be really, really tough. those high altitude games. Denver's is going to run it up and down the floor, and then you're going to contrast that the very next day with a very defensive-minded team. And then you're going to continue that on the road February 28th against the Los Angeles Clippers. Then you're going to fly home to face the Celtics March 3rd. And you're going to be able to have a couple practices in between there. March 6th, you're going to go face the Thunder on the road. March 7th, another back-to-back. You're going to face the Milwaukee Bucks. That's going to be a tough test. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be probably a really, really, really good talent next year, and no doubt that that's going to be a really tough team. Then you're going to go up even farther north to face the Toronto Raptors to close out this stretch. So in this stretch, the Rockets will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're going to face 8 teams, and only 2 of them are going to be at home, and potentially every single one of these teams that the Rockets are facing are going to be playoff teams. So it's going to be tough. If the Rockets are the 2 seed that we expect them to be, they should be able to handle this stretch like champs. But if they aren't, this stretch right here could be pretty daunting for the Houston Rockets. So after facing all those playoff teams, if the Rockets do struggle during that time, they will be able to pick up a little bit of steam at the end of March, where they probably are going to have their easiest stretch of the season between March 23rd, between March 22nd and March 30th. All these games are at home. They're going to face the Pistons. They're going to face the Pistons are going to be March 22nd. The Pelicans are going to be March 24th. Then they're going to have a back-to-back, a rare home back-to-back. March 24th against the Pelicans, March 25th against the Hawks, March 27th against the Bulls, and March 30th against the Suns. Now, of this stretch, the Suns, trash. Bulls, trash. Hawks, trash. Pelicans, depending on how their season goes, you might not even be seeing DeMarcus Cousins. He could be traded at the All-Star break if the Pelicans struggle. So this could be a very, very, very interesting Pelicans team. Not that even if DeMarcus Cousins is on this team, that the Rockets should struggle with it. But it will look really, really weird if DeMarcus doesn't end up making it. And then the Pistons, those 2 games between the Pistons and Pelicans might be the Rockets' toughest test. I'm not entirely sold that the Pistons are going to be a playoff team. And I'm definitely not entirely sold that the Pelicans are going to be a playoff team. So that should be a pretty easy stretch. If the Rockets struggle during that tough part of the stretch of the between February and March, then they'll be able to make up some games here. Rockets are also going to have a ton of national TV games this year. Of course, they're going to be must-watch TV this season with Chris Paul, with James Harden. This could be another MVP race. Chris Paul could have a resurgence, could be averaging 15 assists a game. This is a must-see TV and definitely an NBA TV night, as you've heard many podcasters around the world say that the NBA TV game of the week is going to be the funnest game of the year, and that's the Houston Rockets. Now, notwithstanding all the NBA TV matchups, the Rockets are going to be on national TV 28 times. The Warriors, of course, are number 1 with 31. Then the Rockets, number 2 with 28. Cavs and Thunder are tied with 27. The Celtics with 25. The Spurs with 24. And then, weirdly enough, the Lakers with 23. And, of course, that's for Lonzo Ball. Everyone wants to see Lonzo Ball fail, including myself. So, sure, I'll check out some of those national TV games. But it is nice that the Rockets are getting this respect from the NBA and national media, that ESPN, that TNT, that ABC, well, which is ESPN. They all want these games. That's good for the Rockets. Good for the Rockets to be on TV, and this should be a very, very interesting season for the Rockets. Now, as I look over the rest of the schedule, just some other stuff that stands out to me, and it's really not many things that stand out to me. The Rockets are not going to be bunched up with the Spurs games like they were last year. The Spurs are kind of like sprinkled out throughout the schedule, so you're not going to get Spurs games in a really short stint like the Rockets had last year. The Cavs are mixed in there as well. The Warriors games are nice and spread out. So schedule makers did the Rockets a solid this year. It's not a bad looking schedule. It's a good looking schedule when you look at it up and down. So the preseason, we'll talk about this before we wrap everything up. The preseason will start October 3rd as the Rockets will go on the road to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Then they're going to come back home October 5th to take on the Shanghai Sharks, who the Rockets played last year. This will be the return of Jimmer Fredette to Toyota Center. Then they're going to go on the road to face the New York Knicks. Will Carmelo Anthony be with the team by then? Dun, dun, dun. Who knows? That will take place on October 9th. October 11th, they'll play at Memphis, and then they will come back home to wrap up the preseason against the San Antonio Spurs on October 13th. Again, regular season starts October 17th. Regular season ends April 11th. The Rockets should be a 2 or 3 seed when it is all said and done, and they should definitely have the second or third best record in the entire NBA, like they had last year. The Rockets had one of the best records in the NBA last year, and I don't see that changing this year. So I appreciate everyone for giving this video a watch. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like, a thumbs up. There's no thumbs up here. Just give it a like. Also, if this is your first time viewing my YouTube channel, please share this video with Rockets fans and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would appreciate it. Hit the alert button. I'm always having content out all the time. Also, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Joshua. And lastly, let me know what you think about the Rockets schedule. I would appreciate all y'all's thoughts. Do you think this is a really tough schedule? Do you think the schedule makers stuck it to the Rockets? Or are you kind of like with me? You think the Rockets got a pretty fair schedule this year? I'd love to know what everyone thinks about that. Thinks about this schedule-wise. So I appreciate everyone for checking out this video. Thank you very much. And until next time, I'll catch y'all guys later.